Hello and welcome to another studio sessions from the very sunny Cambridgeshire. I'm Dora from Dora Does, and I'm here to talk to you about crochet. So today I'm very excited to share with you my brand new crochet pattern, the fluff-it cardigan. If you've been watching, I gave you a sneak peek of the almost finished version last week, and today not only have I finished that sample and got the pattern out, I also have a second sample to show you. I have new glasses. I'm going with the 1970s serial killer vibes, apparently. I'm getting old, so I need them for reading and stuff. Right, let's show you. Hold for the noisy thread. So here she is. You really don't need to sit in my chair. This is the main sample of the fluff-it cardigan. This is made with 2 strands of lace weight mohair, and this was just drops kid silk mohair. So 25% silk, 75% kid mohair. So that's 2 strands held double, and it's had a gentle steam, which, I'm not gonna lie, makes all the difference. It just really softens it up. Could probably do with another one. I'm not sure how long the steams last, but if you've got a garment steamer, which is mine's still on the floor here, this is the one I use. It's just it's a travel one, so it's not too bulky, but it does what I need it for. So let me show you what she looks like. We're having a heat wave here at the moment, so putting on a big fluffy cardigan is probably not what I want. But I'm recording this quite early in the day. So here she is. Now, if you were watching the last episode, I cuffed one of the sleeves, but not both. And I am quite a hippie shape, so I go in at the waist and out quite a lot of the hips. And because of the trim on this is slip stitch, it does have limited stretch. And I tightened the trim up a bit to get this sort of rounded shape, which I love. Obviously, it makes it a lot tighter around my hips compared to my waist. But you can either wear it long like this, buttoned or unbuttoned. I just put one button. If you love a button, you can put as many buttons as you want. The pattern kind of allows for that. But you can kind of also sort of tuck it under just to give it that bit more shape. That kind of echoes the little balloon. I mean, the mini balloon sleeves, they're not like big ones. I absolutely love this sleeve length. I really like a big, I like a big sleeve, so you can fit if you've got like a t-shirt on, you're not having your sleeves go up underneath. But I'm feeling this, I don't know what you call it, whether it's like half length, 2/3 length, just below elbow is where I'll go for my elbows here. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how it came out. If you unbutton it, it obviously sits lower, kind of just towards the bottom of my bum. But it's just a really versatile cardigan, and it doesn't always happen that what something looks like in my head is how it comes out. And this is pretty close. So I am happy with that. Now, the reason I was talking about my body shape is because the second sample I made is a crop version. And I'll show you the reason I made the crop version. So if you kind of have a look at how this sort of hangs and where it is on my hips, it kind of hides my waist. And I find this with a lot of dresses. This is why I thought I'd put a dress on today, just to illustrate. But with a lot of dresses, because of my shape, I kind of go in there and I have something that hangs direct from my shoulder onto my hips, and it kind of misses this part of my shape. And it doesn't look that good. So I wanted a crop cardigan. Now this one, which is sample 2, this uses another mohair silk. This is a slightly different composition. It is a 72 2% mohair, 28% silk, and it's that paired with alpaca. In fact, I've still got the ball bands here. I think I did share these with you last week. So this is an alpaca one from Isaiah, that one. And this is the Zakami mohair, which is, they're both undyed. So these are both natural colours. I do quite like a natural cardi. The alpaca doesn't have nearly the same amount of fluff. It's got a little bit of, there's probably a more technical word than fluff, but it's got a little bit of fluff around the core of the yarn, but not nearly as much as the mohair. So this is less fluffy. And because with this design, you're holding 2 strands of lace weight with an 8mm hook. With the pink one, the fluff will kind of fill in the holes and make it, I mean, it's not totally opaque, but if you kind of see that over my dress, you can sort of see where the colour changes. But if you've got double fluff, the fluff fills more of the holes. So with this one, it's a little bit less opaque. I just wanted to caveat that before I put it on. So this one is cropped, and I also went longer with the sleeves. I did not put a button on this because after going through my button box last week, I thought maybe I would do like a hook and eye type thing, or maybe pop a little ribbon on to tie it up. So it's got the same neckline. You can see already that it's not as opaque. You can kind of see much more through it. I mean, I kind of wore a darker dress to kind of exacerbate that, because I always prefer to show things in the fullest extent of what they could look like. Does that make sense? Anyway, the shape is the point. So this cropped level, you can see that sort of falls just, so the small on my back is kind of there. So it is quite short. It kind of comes a little bit below my ribs, but it's very easy to change the length for your body length. I'm quite short. I'm only 5'2". I'm 5'1" a bit, but near enough. So you can quite easily change the length depending on your height, not just your height, but your body height. It just helps show off the shape. And if you have got a dress that's got quite a lot going on in the skirt, there's a lot of full skirts going on at the moment. Or even like a wide leg pair of trousers. I love a wide leg trouser. I feel like a cropped cardigan is just really practical. And that's really why I wanted to try it. Again, these are more kind of classic 3/4 length sleeves. I think there's something like 6 rows difference in the sleeves, so it's not better. This used quite a lot less yarn than the other one. I've only done the yarn calculations in the pattern for the main pink one. So the pattern as it's written, I will obviously link to the pattern, and I will try and link to the product on the shop, which I'm still playing with. The instructions are based on the pink one, and then I've got a separate section in the pattern where I get very specific about the modifications I've made for this shorter version. And I've also got a page of kind of generic advice on how to customize the fit, whether it's the length, the bust, the sleeves, that kind of stuff. I do that in a lot of my patterns, if you want to change this bit or that bit, just because we're all different and I can't possibly write a pattern that's going to fit every single kind of body shape. So I like to kind of teach you how to do it so it works for you. So there we have it. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I think, like I say, I'm going to get a little hook and eye. This one has been stretched about a lot. It's quite nice because like this colour and this stitch combination, it doesn't really hide anything. With the double fluff, you can get away with a lot more. But I also really like how the different texture, how different the texture kind of looks with it being a bit more see-through. But I think this would be lovely with you could wear it with like a formal dress if you're at a wedding. It's kind of quite, the fluff just sort of, I think, makes things a bit romantic and dreamy. So yeah, I think it's really versatile, and I absolutely love how this looks. You've got kind of almost like where, oh, I was going to tell you about the sleeves. You've kind of got where it pulls the sleeves in. You've almost got like a little lacy hole pattern. And then you got this slip stitch. This is slip stitch back loop ribbing. And it takes concentration to make sure you don't get it really tight. But so these sleeves are so much easier than they look. There's no shaping in the sleeve. All it is it pulls in at the cuff. And what I've done is I've worked single crochet 2 together around the opening of the sleeve. Now, this works out really well for the kind of width of the cuff. So there's still plenty of space, but it still kind of pulls it in nicely. And if you pull it up, it kind of, also, excuse the gardening injury. Yeah, it will kind of stay up like this. I did exactly the same in the other one. If you want a tight cuff, you can work more decreased stitches. If you want a more relaxed cuff, you can replace some of the single crochet 2 together with a normal single crochet and have more stitches. You can also, in this case, use the tension on your slip stitches to pull it in a bit tighter or to kind of relax it out a little bit. So there's loads of really simple modifications you can make that will just change it to how you like. That's one of the reasons I really love this pattern. I'm getting really hot. So hold that thought. I just wanted to, I've written some notes on my phone. There's stuff I wanted to share with you, and I just wanted to double check that I'd mentioned anything. And the only other thing I really have here is a word about keeping your tension. So in this pattern, because you're working with a much bigger hook than the yarn would typically be mixed with. So it's lace weight double, which is sort of 4-ply, but then it's fluffy, so that increases the girth of the yarn. It's very easy for your tension to tighten up. So it's just really a word of warning, not a word of warning, but tip for this pattern is just to make sure you keep an eye on it. I know in some of the areas of the pink one, my tension tightened up and I did have to keep going, right? Keep it relaxed, drop your shoulders. I think I shared my hook last week, but it's not here, but I used my Knit Pro Symphony hook, which is a wooden, like a bamboo hook with larger hook sizes. I'm just trying to see if I can see it anywhere. I like the wood, but the Symphony specifically was useful because it had a slightly, so this is my Clover 8mm. Symphony has a slightly pointier end here, and when you're working with fluff and with slip stitches and post stitches, which is what I used in this cardigan, having that extra point I found really useful. I do love my Clover Moors though. I use them pretty much for everything else. And in the fluff-it cardigan, I think I did it with the Clover Moor, not the fluff-it sweater, because I also, in case you haven't seen it, have a sweater that uses the same stitch pattern. Again, I'll link to that. So that, and that's really what I wanted to say about the cardigan. If you've got any questions, I hope you love it. I really love it. And I think I will get a lot of wear out of it. Probably not on a day like today when it's going to be 32 degrees in old money. But when it cools down a bit, or like in the evenings, that sort of stuff. I have a holiday coming up and I think I'm going to take the pink one. I'm going to the south of France just for a few days. And I think the pink one's perfect for evenings. It's all floaty, Riviera vibes. And again, giving it a quick steam, it will boost a bit of life back into it. In fact, I love steam with any wool, kind of animal fibres. Steam really just kind of makes it, I think bloom is the term they use, but it just kind of puffs out and it's really nice. If you've ever got a pom-pom that's looking a bit sorry for itself, give it a steam, or I swing it over a pan of boiling water if I'm cooking. It's probably not the safest way to do it, but I did see a cracking video on Instagram where somebody had frogged yarn, so it was all bobbly, and they basically had a pan of boiling water and they threaded the yarn through the little hole in the lid of the saucepan and like rolled it up through there, going over the steam. Obviously, do not do this over a naked flame because you don't want to catch anything on fire. It was probably a fancy induction hob that had no heat, or like a pan that was hot. So health and safety first, kids. But they just literally ran the yarn through the saucepan, passing the water that was giving off steam, and it just straightened all the yarn up. And I was like, I'm going to try that one day. So yeah, and I think with fluffy yarn, which is the other thing I wanted to talk about today, is working with fluffy yarn is not for everyone. I've realised how many patterns I have that use it, and I'll list them, but in fact I listed them out here because I have to write things down because my brain does not remember things well. So I've got, and I will put pictures or links up, I've got the fluff-it cardigan, ×2 here, the fluff-it sweater, the squish-it sweater, which is using the same stitch pattern but in an even chunkier yarn. That's a really simple short sleeve slouchy sweater that I love. I've got the cloud cover sweater, which uses that's a brushed alpaca silk. Again, that's with a 5mm. So the alpaca silk, that's also a drops one. It's a little bit alpaca fluff is usually a little bit thicker than a mohair. So this would look amazing with, I think, 2 strands of alpaca, like a Surrey alpaca fluff together. It would probably be less see-through, probably a bit warmer. Although even though that looks quite fine, because the fluff traps all the air, they're really cozy. I've also got the Be Bold sweater, which again uses 1 strand of this lace weight stuff. That was one I originally did for a magazine. I'm having some trouble with it on Ravelry at the moment, but the pattern is on Etsy. I think I've just remembered I made the pattern free on my website, so you can get it there. If you're new to working with fluff and you want to give it a go, I have a parade scarf. It's like a parade wrap, which is either like a rectangle wrap or there's a version that has like a little keyhole fastening. So if you want to try it, but you don't want to take on anything too big, and that's a really simple lace pattern. So you're working less into the tops of the stitches, which can be a little bit fiddly with lace yarns. You kind of work into like chain spaces or that kind of thing. It makes it really easy to work with. So that's quite a simple lace pattern. I should have got them all out to show you, but I will put a picture of that. I've also got my Frivolity scarf, which is a newish one, and that is one where I hold lace weight double with a 4-ply, so I hold a fluffy yarn with a 4-ply. That one I think is an alpaca. God, it's amazing how quick I forget. I also have a pattern that is very little known. It's a pillow pattern. It's called the bisou, as in bisou bisou, which is French for kiss kiss. It's just a fun cotton rectangle pillow with the word bisou, and I did the word bisou in fluffy yarn just because I think mixing that's one thing I love about fluff is mixing like the textures of yarn. So it's like a cotton variegated yarn mixed with a real contrast colour fluff. I really like how that came out, but it's one of those that I love that nobody else does, but that's fine. So like I said, that's quite a few yarns using fluff, and I will try and put together a link for the description and maybe even one up here if I can find it, just showing all my fluff patterns. So if you're thinking about working with fluffy yarn maybe for the first time, you can see something that maybe is more your cup of tea or feels more approachable for you. So I'm going to try and keep it short this week. Always my famous last words. The next couple of weeks are going to be a bit crazy. So next off, what I've got planned is, oh my God, honestly, I've got my little phone notes here. I had my eyes tested about 2 weeks ago. The glasses that I worn before, I'd had since I was at my old job, which I left in 2017. But because I'm well into my late 40s now, your eyesight, I start doing this to read things. And so I admitted it was time to go and get my eyes tested. And sure enough, I needed glasses. And I only realised when I put them on just how blurry things had got. The joy of aging. So like I mentioned, I've got a holiday coming up, and then I've got a festival coming up. I'm going to see Harry Styles. So I've got a couple of weeks run with like loads of kind of fun things. So I may not have much new stuff to share, although the next thing I'm going to do is ball up these babies, which I shared last week. I want to try and create a t-shirt version of the Mellow Waves cardigan. That's next on my list. That may well be coming on holiday with me. So I wanted to give another shout out for my little Ask Me Anything link that I have. I have a confidential, it's just like a Google survey thing where you can just ask me any questions, any crochet related questions, anything you're stuck on, anything you'd like to have a deep dive about, any questions on any of my designs, any of that stuff. Or you can, of course, drop them in the comments. I love comments, so you're welcome to drop those. But yeah, so I'd love to maybe do an episode or two over June, being a bit frantic, where I maybe do a bit of a, not tutorial, but I do a little bit of a verbal deep dive on a topic. I did one a while ago about, can't remember. Did one about magazine submissions, but I did another one about another topic. But my addled, heat-ridden brain is not letting me remember. So I think that is it for today. It's the middle of summer in the UK. Well, it's not the middle of summer. We're coming up to summer. It's just very, very hot for this time of year. And I know at this time of year, people are crocheting a lot less. Obviously, you might be in Australia in the middle of your winter. So you might be like wanting the blankets. But I know generally from my experience this time of year, things tend to be quieter, but there's always time for crochet. So any questions, feedback, all that good stuff, let me know. And let me know what you think about fluff-it. Which would you make? Cropped? Long? Double fluff? Fluff with something else? I'd love to hear all your takes. Okay, see you next time.